Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It has yet again been a while, but I've had a few things to unbox for a couple weeks now, so I figured I would try and find the time to do an unboxing so I can have something to post for you guys. This one's been sitting for a while now, and then this one I got just a couple weeks ago. But anyways, we'll start with the small box first. It's nothing too like crazy or anything like that, but I figured since I had it, I might as well unbox it with this one. I believe this is the Ami postcard for January, if I'm not mistaken. It has Amiko on it and then Liliko down here. It looks super cute. I really like this one. It's definitely giving Sakura vibes. And then inside the tiny box we have this girl. So here we have the Sia Fumo plush. She's a lot smaller than I thought she was going to be, but I'm not disappointed at all. I think she's super adorable. I'll probably just have her sitting in my car for now. But I do have the Sia pop-up parade on pre-order right now, and then there's another scale figure that got a grayscale prototype this Wonder Festival. I can't remember who the manufacturer is, but it's of Sia, and I plan on pre-ordering her as well once she goes up for pre-order. I still have yet to play the game, but it's because I've kind of been contemplating whether or not I would want to stream the game in the Discord server or if I just want to kind of play it by myself. I'm not really sure yet. I know there's a lot of people who are like super I don't know, weird about this character and how like if you haven't played the game then you shouldn't be like buying things from the game. That's like the vibes that I get from some of these people, but I don't know, I just think her character design is really cute, and it's not that I will never play the game, it's just I'm trying to figure out like when I want to and how I want to. But yeah, so don't come for me. I'm not trying to be a poser or anything. I just think she's really cute. But yeah, so Sia Fumo is a win. I really think she's adorable. I'm not sure that I'll continue to collect Fumo plushes, but I just felt like this one was kind of different since this character doesn't really get a lot of merch. So I felt like it would be silly to pass it up, especially because I do like her character design so much. But yeah, so I'm happy to have her. I think she's really cute. And yeah, go ahead and put her over here with the Rilakkuma. Right, and then of course we have the star of the show here. I will just go ahead and unbox her and then we'll show her off to you guys. Before I go ahead and show you guys who's in the box, I will go ahead and show you the Ami postcard. Very cute. I think this is a Holo Live girl, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not super into VTubers, but I've seen her quite a lot, and I think her character design is very cute. And of course we have Amiko. And I do believe this is the postcard for the figure that's in the box. We do have a binding bunny in this box. Yes, this is the postcard. So I will like, it'll give it away if I show it to you guys, but I'm just going to show you anyways. I do have to like kind of censor this, but here is the postcard. It is going to be the Misa 1/4 scale binding bunny recolor version, or I guess this is just, it's not really a recolor because it's a completely new design compared to her other bunny that they had, but the rest of the girls are getting recolors. I do already have Erica, the pink bunny version, and I do have Sasaki, the innocent white bunny version, pre-ordered right now. So I'm definitely hopeful that they will go ahead and recolor Yui, which I'm assuming they will since they've already recolored 2 girls and completely remade one of the girls. So of course, if Yui gets a recolor, I will be pre-ordering her. And then I'll be interested to see if Kirara gets a recolor as well. Though her current bunny is not super expensive in the aftermarket, so depending on what the recolor for her is, if she gets one, I might go with the original because I do really like the teal bunny suit that she comes in, and I feel like the teal kind of goes with the current color scheme that I have these girls in, because Erica's in bright pink, Sasaki is in white, but she has pink and like bluish teal accessories, and then Misa is in black, but I feel like black really fits Misa and black kind of goes with everything. So depending on if Kirara gets a recolor, I might just go with the original because I feel like the teal would look really good with the colors that the other girls are in already. But anyways, I'll stop yapping and we'll get to the figure. All right, so here is her box inside the box. I'm not sure exactly what I had expected, but I definitely didn't expect a dark blue box. I think I was kind of more so expecting a black box. But honestly, I think it looks really nice. I'm not gonna say it doesn't. So as you can see here, her box is pretty much like identical in style to Erica's box. Just the colors and the orientation of the box are different. So of course we have a really nice dark navy blue up here, and it kind of fades into a more like periwinkle kind of color. I do really like this. I think it looks really nice, and I'm kind of happy that they went with this color rather than black because I think this looks just really elegant and very, it's giving Misa for sure in my opinion. And then of course we have the name of the figure here in gold lettering, as well as some nice feather details coming down the box. And that kind of, again, coincides with the fact that they have wings. And then we do have these kind of like cross style filigree patterns in the background of the box as well. And again, this was manufactured by Binding. And on the side of the box, just the name of the figure again with the same designs, warnings and whatnot on the back of the box, and then again the same on the other side of the box. Let me go ahead and get her out and set up, and I will be right back. So here she is inside the blister packaging. I am having to do some makeshift censoring. Typically Binding is pretty good about it and will have anything that is 18 plus will be covered in black plastic, but for whatever reason they did not do that with her this time, which I mean I don't really care, but it's just a little bit surprising. But yeah, she looks freaking humongous. I think she'll probably end up being like my tallest 1/4 scale that I have. But yeah, and one thing that I will say that I'm gonna try and be extra careful about is that I was reading her My Figure Collection comments, and a lot of people were mentioning that you should probably be really careful when putting her on the base, because a lot of people were having her stiletto heel snap off when they were trying to get her on the base. So I'm gonna do my very best to be super careful about that. If you watched my Erica Kodamoto unboxing, you may know that the first one that arrived to me came with her leg completely snapped off, and a lot of the pink paint on her bunny suit and ears had chipped off. So I actually had to send her back to receive a new one. So I would rather not have to do that with this one, so I'm going to be extra careful putting her together. These figures do have a lot of really fragile pieces, especially with their wings that attach to the back of their necks. It's very easy to accidentally break them. So yes, I will take my time and be gentle with her. But yeah, so I'll go ahead and get her out of the blister packaging, and then I will go ahead and show her off to you guys. So in a similar fashion, she comes with a really nice bar stool, just like Erica. The base of the bar stool is like a nice heavy metal, and then of course the little actual stool part is this really nice glossy, almost velvet like top part. This is plastic, but The paint job is quite nice on here, and there's a lot of really nice shading, and it gives it the effect that it is maybe velvet or suede or something like that. And then of course this sits freely on the base, which is something that I don't quite like about these figures, is that a lot of their accessories and their stools, they just sit freely on the base, so if something bumps into them, things can fall quite easily, which I'm not a fan of, but it is what it is. And then here we have her little weapon. I guess I think in full form it's kind of like a spear, not really a sword, but in their buddy versions, their weapons are shrunk down a little bit and they go right on their thigh garter. And then here we have her wing pieces. These are also really, really nice. The shading on these is immaculate. They look stunning, very, very nice, very nice. And of course, I will capture all this detail better in the B-roll. That way you guys can get a really good look at her. We have her bunny ears. They are also painted really nicely. I will talk more in detail about her once I put her all together and kind of get a good look at her myself. So as you can see, I have some silly plastic makeshift censoring on her because these girls do not come with a cast on option, which I assume is a design choice by Rita, which I kind of wish that they did, but it's not a super big deal. I don't really mind it. It just makes it a little bit difficult for filming. But when I do shoot the B-roll of her, I'll do a similar thing to what I did with Erica, and I'll wrap a ribbon around her chest. And then obviously the NSFW B-roll will be in the Discord server in the NSFW channel. If you have not joined the Discord server, I highly recommend it. I haven't been super active in there recently just because I've had a lot going on in my personal life, but we talk about figures in there, upcoming figures, figures that we've just gotten, all sorts of stuff, art, cosplay, anything that you can imagine that has to do with anime and manga and figure collecting. So yeah, consider joining it. The link will be in the bio. But yes, so for now, while I'm talking about her, which the B-roll will most likely be over part of this portion of the video, so you'll get to see her in her almost full glory. But yeah, I do have quite a bit to say about her, if I'm being honest, and all of it is good. I feel like I don't really have a lot of nitpicks when it comes to figures, but this figure truly is just wow, if I'm being completely 100% honest. And that's not me being overly generous or anything like that. I'll just start off by saying, if you were considering getting her, but you were on the fence about it, absolutely get her. She is perfect in every way possible. The first thing that I would like to point out is that I do feel like overall, her quality is so much better than Erica. Looking at her now, I really wished they had just remade all of the girls rather than giving the other girls color variant options. I wish they would have just remade them in different poses like they did with Misa, because the detail of the sculpting on this figure and the paint job and just the overall execution is excellent. It's stunning. For one, she's huge. Look how tall she is. I'll be interested to see how she looks next to Erica, because I feel like she's quite a bit larger. And I honestly feel like, although they are both 1/4 scales, that she is on the bigger side for a 1/4 scale. So I'll be interested to see how she looks next to Erica. But overall, the sculpting on this figure is really immaculate. She just looks stunning, and her hair sculpt is really nice. And actually, now that I'm looking at her hair, I feel like the box is the color it is because of her hair. if you can tell in the light, you should be able to, although from a distance her hair looks black, in the light, the highlights of her hair are that nice navy blue color that the box is. And then there are even some parts of her hair that are kind of that lighter periwinkle color where the highlights are supposed to be. So I definitely think that that's why they decided on the box color that they decided on, and I think that it looks really, really good. I love when a character that has black hair has like other colors layered on top to give it the effect of highlights. I think it looks really nice rather than just like a matte black kind of paint. So I really do like her hair. The shading on it looks really nice, and the sculpting of each strand is also really nice. As you can see, she has quite long hair, and there's a ton of individual strands. And then of course her bangs look really, really cute too. I definitely think this figure looks just like her. They captured the likeness of Misa very well. And then of course her body sculpt is classic Raita fashion, looks just like Raita's work. If you were to look at this and you were familiar with Raita's work but you didn't know who the character was, you would almost instantaneously assume that it was Raita's character, just because they did capture that so well, in my opinion. She's meant to be displayed from like this angle, and so I think the proportions look really nice. I know a lot of people dislike Raita's body proportions and how like kind of dramatic and unrealistic they are, but I think that's kind of the point, so I'm not too fussy about it at all. And then her back wings are super, super, super pretty, and they have the same shading on the tail. And actually I did want to mention that the tail on Misa is actually different than the tail on Erica, if I'm not incorrect. Erica's tail is just two wings that are like kind of in the shape of a tail, but there's no like little middle part, whereas Misa has the two little wings on either side, but there is a bigger cluster in the middle to kind of represent that little fluffy bunny tail. And I actually quite like this design a little bit more than the original one. And this is another reason why I kind of wish they had just completely redesigned all of the other girls, because a detail like this is going to stand out when looking at the other figures from the line because it's different. And I do feel like the overall quality of this figure is much higher than the other girls. And so I feel like that will also kind of stand out and almost make it seem like she is not supposed to be displayed next to them, if that makes sense. And so I kind of, yeah, I just kind of wish they had completely remade all of the girls, because the quality of this one is in general much better. And then another thing that I wanted to touch on was the bunny suit itself. Obviously it is a black bunny suit, but I don't know if you'll be able, yeah, you should be able to see it in the light there. They did some really nice kind of silverish chrome highlights to her bunny suit. Same with her stilettos. I don't know if it'll catch it on there, but I'll try and catch it in the B-roll. And I think that looks really nice too. Like I was saying, I feel like a lot of times when a figure has a majority of black on their outfit or their hair, they don't really tend to do shading or anything like that, so it can kind of look a bit one-dimensional. But I do really like that they decided to add that kind of chrome highlight to her ears, bunny suit, and shoes, because it gives the figure that added bit of detail to really kind of make it stand out. And so I really like that. And then I will say one thing that is quite impressive about this figure is her hands. Her hands are super, super nicely detailed. And her fingernails even have like a layer of kind of, it's a nude color, but it's a little bit darker than her skin tone, so it looks like her nails are painted, and they're also glossy. So it definitely looks like she just got a manicure or something, and I really, really like that. I feel like a lot of times figures kind of will skimp out on that, but I can always appreciate when a figure has painted fingernails or even just glossy fingernails, because it makes it look like they have nails. And a lot of times, you know, anime is much more simplified, so certain details like that will oftentimes get left out. just to keep the simplicity, but I can always appreciate when a figure has painted nails. And then I do really like the gems on her little cufflinks, and then the gem in the like middle of her like collar. They look really, really pretty. And I do like that they are slightly translucent, so it really gives the effect of like a gem or a stone or some sort of, you know, diamond kind of thing. But yeah, and then I just overall, which I think I said this about Erica as well, I love that they chose to use this kind of iridescent shading on the white bits of their wings, tail, and like their collar piece. I think it looks really, really nice and very magical. And I think obviously because these are magical girls, that is super, super fitting for them. So I just really, really like that. And then of course, she has a cuff, sorry, not cuff. She has a garter on her thigh, and then she has her little arm cuffs as well. And those are both painted in a nice pink color with some gold. I think that's gold detailing, or kind of a bronzy color. Either way, it looks really nice, and it's painted super finely and super cleanly, which I can always appreciate that too, because a lot of times when figures have super small details like that, the craftsmanship can be lacking a little bit, but definitely not on her. I think if I'm remembering correctly, Erica also looked pretty good in that regard. And then of course we do have her little weapon here on her thigh. The handle actually has some really nice detailing to it. It doesn't really pick up very good on the camera, but I will catch that in the B-roll. It has like a nice, like kind of almost scaly design to it. It looks really good. And that also kind of has an iridescent, shiny, sparkly, pearlescent. I think it's more pearlescent. It has more of a pearlescent finish than iridescent. And then of course, the gold and the silver details are painted very nicely as well. And then honestly, just the overall presentation of this figure is very nice, and they did a really good job with it. And I was really, really careful about putting her on the base, but I definitely understand how people were snapping off the heel of her stiletto, because you do have to be very careful. The heel that has the little clear block in it, that's the heel that I think people were snapping off, because there's a hole in the bottom of her shoe and there's a hole in like the arch of her foot. So there's two pegs, and the front peg doesn't quite align properly. So you have to kind of like finagle her foot a little bit. But if you're slow with it, you'll be fine. It wasn't super difficult. You just have to be patient. And then I did actually, which I don't know if anybody else will have this issue or has had this issue, but her hand came to me. So I didn't realize her hand was on a swivel. So her hand came to me like this, and I was trying to get the stool under, and I was like, what the hell? And I looked at the instructions and realized that her hand was in the wrong position. I was like, did they glue her arm on wrong or something? But then no, I'm just silly, and I didn't realize that her hand is on a swivel. So if you're wondering about that, her hand does swivel. So if yours comes in the wrong position, don't freak out. It's not a manufacturer error. You can change it, but it does have to be kind of in this forward front facing position for the stool to go up under it. And I kind of just did this and then like slid it into place, and then readjusted once it was under her fingers, because there are little divots in the stool where her fingers are supposed to sit. So you just line those up, and it fits in there very nicely. But yes, so I do have to say, I am extremely happy to have her in my collection. I can't believe I let her sit in the box for so long, now seeing how gorgeous she is, because holy heck, she's stunning. And I can't wait to see her next to Erica, though I do feel like Erica was my favorite bunny for a while there. Like she was the one, but I don't know. I'm not like a super huge fan of Misa's design in general. She's not my favorite of all the girls. Sasaki is, but she might just end up being my favorite bunny that I have right now. because of how like well executed and clean she is. I definitely think binding won with this one. There was a couple bunnies I got that were misses. They were not good. Binding did a bad job on them. But this one is very good, very good. So like I said, if you were considering getting her, please do. She is stunning. Definitely the best binding bunny that I have right now for sure. But yeah. So anyways, thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, leave a like, a comment, maybe consider subscribing, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.